Hello and welcome back to Hot Take here on No Bullshit, where we review the latest movies and give you our hot take on them. Today we're talking about the new Jennifer Garner-driven action crime thriller called Peppermint. But does this movie hold up to other kinds of crime revenge thrillers out there? We're going to talk about that and more today on Hot Take. In short, yes, Peppermint is a pretty good movie. It definitely holds up, and Jennifer Garner pulls off an amazing performance. There's a lot of cool stuff in this movie, and there's a few minor drawbacks too, but nothing that really hurts anything in my opinion. Sure, maybe you've heard this kind of story before, and yeah, maybe it seems a little generic at times, but I still think Peppermint pulls it off. Peppermint is awesome. There's a lot of cool kills in it. There's a lot of cool action, and Jennifer Garner is pretty sick. Not only is she action-packed and learning all these karate moves and shooting with guns and all that stuff, she's also pretty hot too, so she's got a big mission to get revenge for what happened to her family, and I don't think the attackers are going to like who they messed with. Peppermint has a pretty decent story that's held up by even better action and crime scenes. Some really good kills in here, some good deaths, and some really creative photography as well. And most of all, I would say Peppermint is a welcomed original story coming out of Hollywood. This is something new. Sure, you might have seen a couple similar stories before, but all in all, Peppermint is its own thing. It sets things up really well, and it also delivers on the ending. That brings me to the story summary for Peppermint. Peppermint's story basically goes like this. You got a woman and her family, and they're going to the park one day, and there's a very, very tragic, horrible accident that happens. Her husband and her daughter get killed, and I know this might sound like spoilers, but this is also in the trailer. This is the basic setup for the movie. Her husband and daughter get killed, and essentially the rest of the movie is her getting revenge for that. Starts off by disappearing for about 5 years, and apparently she's been doing a lot of training because she comes back with a vengeance on the 5th year anniversary of her family's death. From there, there's a lot of other cool stuff. There's some crime aspects involved. We get to see detectives helping Jennifer Garner's character. Jennifer Garner becomes this sort of superhero character. I was saying that sometimes she feels like a Batman or something. Like she turns into this vigilante who's like saving this whole neighborhood in Los Angeles, which is another cool part. This movie's set in Los Angeles. It's a very LA film, which is again something that happens often, but they do a good job of showing you some different places, particularly Skid Row, which was very interesting. Considering all that, having this big female lead original movie, I'm really surprised feminists aren't backing this movie up so much. This is way better than anything like Ghostbusters or Ocean's 8, and this is a new story. It's not copied from something old. It might be a little derivative of a story. You might have heard it before, but the way that Peppermint is executed is fine and dandy if you ask me. And I'm pretty surprised feminists and SJWs aren't supporting this movie as a good female lead one. But again, you know, you could think of a few reasons why. First and foremost, this has a lot of guns in it, a lot of killing. Lefties and SJWs tend to shy away from that, especially the gun stuff, the pro-Second Amendment, which also brings up a little hypocrisy here. Jennifer Garner is like a very anti-gun person in real life, so having her be in this pro-gun, shooting 'em up movie is kind of ironic. But that's politics. Putting all that aside, Peppermint is a cool movie. If you're interested, I definitely think you should check it out. With all that said, let's go ahead and turn to the hot take meter. I'll easily give Peppermint 3 out of 5 flames. Definitely not a 3.5 or a 4, just a very average, good movie. A few little drawbacks, like I mentioned before. The story's a little derivative. The music, the soundtrack a few times was super cheesy. Like, I feel like they put like a Stained or Puddle of Mud song in there. I felt like flashing back to 2005 at one point, but besides that, everything else is cool. The story is very serviceable, and the way the actors pull it off is really good. Jennifer Garner is awesome. She steals the show, but there's a couple other cool people in there too. There's even some fun twists, which I, again, won't spoil, but the story does surprise you in a few places, so if you're interested, if you like the trailer at all, if you like Jennifer Garner, definitely check it out. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Hot Take, everyone. We'll see you next week to talk about the latest movie, which will probably be Predator. Bye-bye.